Hello, Julie here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am very glad that you could join me today. Today I'm going to be doing Roxy's Weekly Challenge week number 49. Now this is from last year, 2025, so I'm a bit behind, so I'm trying to catch up. Now I'm going to use this piece of cardstock. It's 250 GSM, this piece, and I will be adding other paper to it. So now there's a couple of things that I have to tell you first. Rachel already had her pocket already made. I haven't got what she had, so I'm going to have to make one. So that's something we're going to do first. So here we go. Now I need to fold this over. Let's say, well, why don't I get my scoreboard out and think about this as I'm going along. So first of all, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. So that's going to be my closure, and then let's say I want to make it 4.5 inches wide. So that means I score it at 5. Okay, and then that means I would need to cut it at, we can put this away. So we're going to fold that like that. Then we're going to fold that over like that. So I need to cut it about there, and I reckon that would be 4.5, 9, I reckon that would be 9.5 inches. Let's have a look how, yes, yep, so I'm going to cut that at 9.5 inches. Now, how tall do I want this? I don't want it the full height, so let's say I'm going to make it 6.5 inches tall. Yep, that'll be good. I can't remember what size the one was that Rachel had, but this is what I'm going with. So now that folds over like that, and that folds over like that. That's not exactly, I could just trim a little bit off there, but I'm going to go this way. I'm just burnishing my creases. Okay, so that's going to be the back, because that will curl in there like that or like that, it doesn't really matter which. So let's say this is my front. Now hers had a rectangular window in there, so I've got some rectangular dies here, and I've got an assortment of them, as you do. Got those and those, so you know, a tall, skinny, wider, fatter, medium, and then these. Why I would need all of those rectangles, I've got no idea, but there we go. Now, what size do I want to put in there? Let's have a look. I was thinking maybe this size here. What do we think of that? It's not too bad, is it? Alright, we'll go with that one then. So what I need to do then is take this to my Big Shot and cut that out. Now I'm going to just do it by eye. Put that there, and I've got some reusable tape down here. Now how does that look? Is that pretty well square? Yep. Alright, I'll go and cut this out. Okay, so I've done that. Now, a little trick to remember is if you have got a big shot, you can only have about 6 inches wide. I've got the switch, which does allow me to put larger sizes through, so that was lucky. So yeah, so if you're doing this and you've got the standard big shot, you will need to make your height this way, no more than, I think it's 6 inches. I did take it to my normal big shot to do because, to be honest, that's probably a bit quicker. But it didn't work, of course. Right, okay. So now they're going to glue this closed, and we're going to glue it closed along the bottom. Now, do I want to put a thumb notch in the top? Actually, I think I might do that after, because I'm going to cover this with pattern paper. So let's just close it up first. Okay, bring that over, lay it down, bring that over and lay that down. Okay, just burnish that down, and this one, our bone folder, make sure all of that is nicely creased. Okay, so we have our starting point, which is a window pocket. Hasn't got, Rachel's didn't have any acetate or anything in there either, that was open. But if you prefer, you could put your acetate in there before you glue your sides up. Alright, so that's step one. Okay, so now the next part was a fabric collage page, or masterboard, or whatever you like to call it. So I have started on this because I thought it would be a bit too boring for you to sit there and watch me put this together. So what I've done is I've just got another sheet of the 250 GSM cardstock. I bought a whole ream of this, thinking I'd be able to put it through my printer, and it doesn't work in my printer. The printer won't accept it. I've got an Epsom ET 3800 and it just doesn't pick it up, which is a pain. And so I have covered that with this glue stick all over, and so now that just allows me to put my fabric on, and then I'll just come back afterwards, and anything that's overlapping like that I can just add some glue stick to and stick it down. Now it does go on blue and it dries clear, of course, like most glue pens we get these days. Glue sticks, I mean. Okay, add a bit of glue to that. Stick that down on there. Another piece of green in here maybe, I think that would be good. So let's, we can always trim it off, you know, around the edges afterwards. Need to add some glue to that piece. would we like next? A piece of this maybe. I'm not really that keen on the blue section of it, so I'm going to avoid that piece and come in here. This has got this fabric that I'm using, like this one and this one and that one, I think, are all from my, I've got some in my alright, sorry about that, my sister was trying to contact me. Perhaps I'll put that piece along there. That looks like that would fit there nicely. And this piece, yeah, as I was saying, these fabrics, a lot of these fabrics are from my Ko-fi, or my Etsy, I think it is, my Etsy shop. Yeah, my Etsy shop. So if there's a particular fabric that you liked, pop on over there and have a look. You may find some. But yeah, any fabrics that you have would do the job. Another piece of this, I think, maybe in there. Let's cut that about that wide. So we'll do that, stick that down there. So let's put some glue on there. Ooh, a bit too overzealous there, I think, with my glue. Got a wipe here, perhaps if I wipe that off. Being fabric, I can probably wash it off okay. Okay, and under there, put some glue on that. Now, what else do we want? We've got that there. We could put a piece of this. I'm not too fussed about that. I don't think we're going to use the full sheet anyway, so I might just cut off another piece of this. I don't think I've got any over there. No. Got this piece. That piece could go there, couldn't it? Yes. Might try and straighten that edge up a little bit. If you watch my videos at all, you would know that I'm not a big glue stick fan, so this is certainly something out of the norm for me, using a glue stick. But Rachel uses glue stick all the time. That's Rachel from Roxy's Weekly Challenge. She uses glue stick all the time, seems to swear by it, so I guess if she can use it, no reason why I can't. and a strip here. So what should we put there? This one. I think that's what I was going to go for, wasn't it? So I want a long skinny piece. Put that there. Trim that off. Like that. And put some glue on here. And go there. Like that. Now Rachel made hers in the Christmas theme, so she cut circles and triangles out of hers and made Christmas trees and baubles. I don't know what I'm going to make out of mine, so I'm thinking that I might actually just make it as the background for the card that's going to go in there. So with that in mind, I'm going to add some coffee dyed paper to the back. Now let me just get my brayer. I'm just going to run over this just to make sure that I've got everything touching. Okay. Right. Okay, so now that's the first time I've made a fabric masterboard, so yeah, pretty good. Actually, I wouldn't mind a little bit of green over here. It doesn't have to be big. Just a little bit in there like that, I think. Or maybe bring it down over that joint. Yep. Alright, so I'm going to add some glue to the back of this piece. I've got some glue paper here that I used to glue up that. So I'll just add glue to this. I'm not being skimpy with my glue because I want it to stay stuck. And I'll pop that down there. Okay. Glue everywhere, glue everywhere. Let's just make sure we've got that nicely pushed down. Okay, so I'm going to go and find some coffee dyed paper and clean all this stuff up. Okay, so I've added a sheet of coffee dyed paper to the back of this, so I'm going to cut my journaling card to go in my pocket from that from this masterboard. Now I'm going to cover this first of all. I'm going to cut this down to size. I'm just going to leave a little white border all the way around. Oh, where's my mark there? There it is. I'm going to stick that on the back like so. Let's do that. So this is going to be a freestanding embellishment in a journal. You could, of course, not cover the back with pattern paper and put it in as, you know, attach it to your page if you prefer that. This can also be written on this paper, so dual benefit there. Now I'm going to cover the front. So let's mark that. I can use this piece on here. If you're an inker, you'd want to be inking about now. Normally I do, but I'm not going to for this one. Okay, so for the sides, cut that down about there, and at the edge of that window, because I'll take one right across, so about here. Okay, that piece can go there. And we want another piece to go here. And there we go. I tell you what, I wasn't too far off the centre, was I? So if I make that the same length as that, our two sides. And then, well, let me stick those down. So, as I said, Rachel already had her envelope already constructed. It was a purchased one or something like that. I can't remember exactly where she said it came from. But, bonus, you get to see how to make one for yourself. And I think this idea would come in handy for all sorts of things. There we go. Now, oops, seems to be a bit crooked. That's better. Now I want this to be the same width as those, so let's just move that there and put that, cut that there and cut it here. The other thing you could have done is you could have, if your printer would take it, and you could put your 250 GSM paper through and print it already with the pattern paper on it. Well, then you wouldn't have to do the covering part like this. I'm all for shortcut ways, but next time I buy a printer, which won't be for a while because I only bought that one not that long ago, I will definitely look at the thickness of cardstock that it will take. Perfect. Okay. So there we go. There is our pocket, covered on the back, covered on the front. Now we're going to cut our journaling card to go in there. So I can't remember what I made that. I think I made it 4 inches, no, 4.5, but I'm going to make my journaling card 4 1/4. It's quite thick though. I'll make it 4 1/8, I think, just to be on the safe side. And now, how far will that go? Oh yeah, if I make it 6 inches, that'll be fine. So I'm going to try cutting this with my trimmer. I don't know if that's going to work or not. First of all, I have to cut a straight edge. So if I turn it over that way, it might be better. So let's try that. Cut through most of it. Okay, so I've got a bit of a glue shortage here, so let's pop some, that whole thing. Let's pop some glue behind there. Right, so now I'm going to try and cut, what did I say? Oh, let's cut a straight edge along here first. So let's make sure we've got that nice and straight. Might go this way. That way I can really push this up against that. Make sure that I've got it nice and straight. I think it's just having, oh no, it's through. Okay, so I don't want to use that bit, of course. Perhaps I could cut that down a bit more. With my scissors. Okay, so now where do we want to cut our card from? Would like to get some green in it, so perhaps we'll go this way. So what did I say? I wanted to make it 4 1/8. Let's do 4 1/8. By 6, wasn't it? So let's straighten that edge up. Okay, 5, 6. Rachel turned hers over, so what she got was a surprise. There we go. So that is going to be the journaling card that goes in there. Very good. Fits in there nicely. Now, I'm going to cut a tab to put on there. I've got my whale tail punch here and a bit of paper. Okay, so let's pop that on there. Once again, this would be the time to ink if you are an inker. I think I got that straight somehow. Now, I want to round the corners, but I don't think my corner rounder will do it, so I'm just going to do it by hand. Glue malfunction there. Now you can see why I don't get, oh, look at that. You can see why I don't like using glue sticks. They never seem to work for me. Right, so now we've got our journaling space on the back. We've got journaling space. I don't like that tab on there. It's too crooked. Too crooked. It's better. I like the colour better too, the lighter pink. But Okay, so now that goes in there, that goes in there. Now I want something to put on here, so I'm going to go and have a look for a fussy cut of some sort, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got these tulips I'm going to stick on there. I have fussy cut them, they were just on a pattern paper actually. So I'm now going to use my liquid glue to attach them to my journaling card. I'm trying to make sure that I get all of the bits and pieces. If I do miss some though, I can always come back. Right, so it's going to be a bit tricky, isn't it? Let me wipe that glue up first, otherwise I'll get it all over the back of my journal card. And let's pop them down there. Let's pull them down a bit lower. Okay, let's attach them. What have I got there? Right. And now I'll just trim that off of the bottom. Okay, let's give that a good push down, and we can pop that in there now. I did embellish the top right hand section of the frame with some lace and a label, but I lost that video, and you can see the finished item in the photos at the end. We have journaling space, we have journaling space, we have a pretty fabric masterboard, and a pretty picture in our frame. You could also stitch around this too if you wanted to before you closed up your envelope, and you can of course stitch around that pretty easily. Alright, so that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful, and I hope you can join me when I post my next video. Okay, bye.